Hi, my mother was a deeply evil, sinister, horrible person uh, throughout my entire life, from birth till me being no contact with her. And so when I see people like Erica Kirk trying to actively trying to look sinister, trying to look mean, trying to look intimidating, it just it makes me giggle a little bit because it's not giving what she's wanting it to give. I can tell that it's fake. In the video that I posted the other day where it was like, what's wrong with her eyes? What's wrong with her eyes? Maybe she's a sociopath. Maybe. Or maybe she just is someone who thinks that she's intimidating when quite actually she's not, because it looks fake, in my opinion. I have looked evil in the eyes, and that's not it. That's not what it's giving. You know what it's giving? I almost drove off, but it's giving that little girl that's upset that her friend used her iPad charger and now her iPad won't charge or whatever. Thanks, Rachel. Thanks a lot, you idiot.
So now it's been a couple days since Druski's come out with that skit that he made about Erica Kirk. Now, he didn't mention her name, but he was doing a depiction of a Erica Kirk, or a W woman, right? That's on the conservative right, right? And he was showing basically how she behaves and how she's been behaving since the unaliving down at Utah Valley University of her husband, Charlie Kirk, right? So there's been a lot of W women also calling her out. And I've been surprised. There's a lot of women, right, that for some reason, I guess they don't like this woman at all. And I'm talking about blonde hair, blue-eyed, red hair. They've been calling this woman out and they've been laughing. A lot of people think that what Druski did was funny, right? A lot of conservatives are even calling this out. And mind you, a lot of black conservatives think it's funny, but a lot of conservative men, right, on the far right, they think it's despicable. A lot of them are very upset. But there's a dude, Brandon Tatum. Brandon Tatum, he's now responded to this, right? And he kind of shocked and surprised me because he was actually honest for a change. Because y'all know Brandon Tatum, he is the ultimate butter biscuit. The butter biscuits that fall off the corner of the table, he's right there ready to grab them. But he was kind of like down the middle in his response. He said this.
Get on your feet, boy!
Raging in Iran.
We're praying for all the soldiers and troops.
That's great that you're praying, but
how about all the kids that died when the USA hit the towers?
It broke my heart. That is the
All right, that's enough. So if you got a sense of humor, there's certain humorous things about that. I don't know if humorous is the right word, but there's certain things about that that's inherently hilarious because you know that that's Druski. Right, it's not Erica or anybody. I see Druski back there being a clown. However, I just really do believe that in comedy, there's things that are tasteful and distasteful. And the fact that Erica lost her husband the way she did makes this distasteful. That's all I can say about it. And some people may not like how I approach it or whatever. I'm just keeping it real, and I just got to be myself. And we don't always have to agree. But I think a lot of people are unjustifiably coming after Druski. He's a comedian. He can do whatever he want to do. That's the part of comedy, is that sometimes you may get offended by it. And I say this, I wish that Druski didn't make it, because I think that it's a sensitive topic. But at the same time, I'm not going to go out and counsel Druski over this. I just think that he's being a comedian, and it's insensitive comedy. And I want everybody watching this to just check your own self. I think most people watching this think it was disgusting. However, when somebody's making fun of George Floyd, were you upset? Did you feel like it was too much and gone too far? Or did some of y'all enjoy the content of making fun of George Floyd? Which we don't have a connection to George Floyd. We think George Floyd was a crackhead nut job, which in part he was. However, that's somebody's dad, that's somebody's brother, and somebody making fun of him could come across as being insensitive. So the way I looked at this situation, as I said, before I get upset about it, let me check myself, because when Druski made fun of all kind of other people and they may have been offended by it, I didn't get mad at it because it was funny. It was detached. I wasn't a part of it. I didn't know the people. But then when he made fun of somebody I know, it really bothered me. It really did. And so I just wanted to throw that out there, put my 2 cents in it, take it or leave it. Let's get to something a little more applicable to the nation.
Now, he shocked me because I really thought that he was going to come out blazing and going hard in the paint for, for Erica Kirk. But I think that, when Charlie first was unalive and he was on there crying, I don't think that he got the response from TPUSA that he wanted. See, he think he fooling. You ain't fooling nobody. I think that they not rocking with him. They didn't invite him out to like a lot of the shows. They didn't allow him to speak. Right? He was selling merchandise on Charlie Kirk's behalf. I don't think that he gave them money. They not rocking with him. So he's not going hard for her the way he goes hard for that small hat protected group, right? He go ham for them. He'll make a fool of himself. He got half all of his friends done turned their back on him because of his support of that protected class. Now, he ain't really backing Erica Kirk like that, and I know why. He's not fooling us. But there's a lot of black conservatives that are actually on the side of Druski. And I know why, because this black conservative, he also got into some trouble with some W conservatives in the bar. I believe it was up in Boston, where he felt like his life was in danger. They let him know, you still black. We don't rock with you. Remember this dude?
So you know the funny thing about that Druski skit is that if Erica Kirk and Team TPUSA had just kind of shown a little cheeky humor about it, like if Erica Kirk had tweeted or posted from her ex account, had literally quote tweeted the video and then said something like, oh, you know how I love my sparklers, ha ha ha, laugh, 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 it would have deflated the entire situation with humor. And then everybody kind of would have just laughed and moved on. But since that didn't happen, now you've got this is disgusting. It's disgusting. You've got Ted Cruz talking about, well, this is just abominable. And everybody just looks so completely absurd and ridiculous and so joyless and so humorless. And so the problem with the space right now and the problem, the reason why none of this is cool anymore is because it went from a countercultural thing that was cool and was interesting to something that is just humorless and joyless. And now Ted Cruz has to stand in line and now everybody has to say that this is racist. When like 5 years ago, everybody would have just laughed because it's a legitimately funny skit. So I don't know, like where's the humor anymore?
So you're starting to see a lot of the black conservatives really come around. Candace Owens thought it was funny. She's not supporting it because these black conservatives, they've been getting a Negro wake-up call from these far hardcore right-wing conservatives. They let them know, we don't want you here. We don't need you token blacks no more. You Jason Whitlocks and all of you guys, we don't need you. We was using you for what we can use you for. Now we're in power. You guys can get back over there with the Negroes, right? We don't want you. So now you're starting to see them turn a little bit. Like they're not defending this. They think it's funny. See, if this was 5 years ago, oh, they would have been outraged. This is an outrage. I can't believe that you black people would make something like this of an Erica Kirk. Y'all know that dude right there. I mean, you know, he's the Tinkerbell. Y'all know Mr. Tinkerbell that just was talking. And you know Brandon Tatum. Man, they wouldn't have been signed with Druski a couple years ago if this was a couple years ago. But ever since they got their wake-up call, and they've been getting called out by the radical right, and they've been letting them know who they are in their position. Now, all of a sudden, they want to side with black folks again. Man, we ain't listening to that. But then you got this W man. He came and he broke down something that was very sensible when it comes to blackface, because a lot of the radical right that are upset, they said, well, if he can use whiteface, then we can bring back blackface, right? And we know that blackface was used to disrespect black people, to make them seem like that they wasn't human, make them seem like that they were less than, right? Step and Fetch It, and all the coon character, the Sambo, the Mammy, right? The blackface, right? Mordecai Noah, right? And the minstrel show, right? Mordecai Noah, right? He's the father of the minstrel show. He was a small hat. Look him up. Mordecai Noah out of Philadelphia, right? He was a small hat. He's the father of the minstrel show. All of that was to was to make black people seem like that they're not human. Well, this W guy, he broke this down and he said this.
Every time Druski pretends to be a white person, the same conversation always arises. The age-old debate, if Druski can do whiteface, then why can't I do blackface? If he can paint himself white as a joke, then why can't I paint myself black as a joke? Seems like a real double standard, if you ask me. And I've already went over this once, but the answer to that question is a lot easier than you think it is. Whiteface exists in the same way that my 12... In theory, both of these things are very real. In actuality, it's a lot smaller than it might seem. What I'm trying to say is that whiteface and blackface are not comparable because only one of them has a historical context tied behind it, that being blackface. It was used as a tool to dehumanize people, as a means of upholding a racial hierarchy that keeps one group at the top and another way, way down at the bottom. It wasn't just for the sake of comedy, it was also used to reinforce the fact that a group of people were subhumans. They were inferior to us. They don't deserve equality, and that's why it's okay to mock their features and just mock them in general. Whiteface does not have any of that. So even though both of these two terms, right, whiteface and blackface, they exist in a literal sense, only one of them is actually real, and that would be blackface. And the thing is, Druski is offensive by design. That is his brand. In every single one of his videos, he's punching at a demographic of people, and that's why he's so popular, because people like his offensive jokes. So when you ask me if he can get away with doing whiteface, but why can't I get away with doing blackface, it ties back to the golden rule of offensive comedy. That being that a joke has to be funnier than it is offensive. Technically, nothing is off limits. Doing blackface isn't illegal. No one's gonna arrest you for it. But is your joke funnier than it is offensive? If you have the greatest setup and punchline in your mind and you execute it properly, then it should be funnier than it is offensive, right? But the thing is, some jokes have such a heavy history tied to them that it's almost virtually impossible to make it funnier than it would be offensive. And blackface falls into that category. But a good rule of thumb for any offensive joke ever is that you can get away with it as long as you make the people who are supposed to be angry at you laugh, right? Offensive jokes are a very staple part of a comedian's toolkit. They've been used for a very long time. The only question is, are you smart enough? Is your delivery good enough to pull off what you're trying to do? Or are you just gonna embarrass yourself and make yourself look stupid?
Now that video got over like 70 million views on Instagram, where he has like 12 million followers, but that video got like 70 million views because a lot of people was down with MAGA. But ever since Trump been in the office, there's been a lot of people turning on Trump and turning on MAGA and turning on that conservative party, man. And a lot of W's are very upset, right? And a lot of black people, a lot of those black conservatives, they're starting to abandon ship. It's leaking oil because they've been getting smoke, right? A lot of those conservatives, man, all throughout the year, man, was going after Candace Owens. She's jumping ship, right? That Tinkerbell dude in the video, he's jumping ship. Brandon Tatum, man, ever since he's been siding with them small hats and that group been going against them small hats, man, they've been lighting Brandon Tatum behind up. Anthony Brian Logan, they was calling him primates and all kinds of gorillas and monkeys when he was siding with that boy Carmelo Anthony. So these black conservatives are on the ropes, man, and them W's got them on the run. So now they starting to change a lot of their verbiage that they espouse online, man. And I've been paying real close attention because that Anthony Brian Logan boy, they lit him up, man, a couple months back, man. Was tearing him up. And we know that Brandon Butter Biscuit Tatum, man, they've been lighting him up. So they think it's funny. They siding with Druski now, but they wouldn't have never sided with Druski had they still had the support of these W's, man. These W's letting them know you guys are tools, and we finish with our tools, we break them. We don't need you. We don't need you. So now, and this is why Brandon Tatum is taking the position that he's taking, and all those Tinkerbells on that side is taking those positions, man. Right? You saw what's the sellout Sambo conservative down there in South Carolina, the black dude, man. What's his name? When all of a sudden outside of the White House they was making fun of the Obamas and they had him in the monkeys and stuff, and he was upset and he went and said something, right? Man, these W's is letting these dudes know Man, we was just using you to get in position. Now we in position. We don't need y'all. And that's why Brandon Tatum is taking the position he's taking, and all these black conservatives. And that's what y'all get. But y'all gotta let me know what y'all think, man. If you made it this far in the video, hit that like button, subscribe to Street Media TV, leave your comments in the comment section. And remember, I love y'all. Till the next time. Peace.